Hello, everyone. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We are live. Today, we have an awesome conversation with Elzbieta. She's one of our clients in Brand Builders Academy program. And we'll be talking about her journey. She's a full-time parent, but she launched an e-commerce business, and she got to her first um, 100 sales with her e-commerce business. So very excited to chat with her, learn more about her journey, see what's working for her, seeing how she manages the time with her family and also with operating her business. And should be very, very awesome conversation. Elzbieta, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, Alex.
Hi,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining me. It's pretty late for you, right?
Yeah, it's 6 minutes past 8.
Oh, thank you so much. I know it's yeah, you probably want to spend time with your family.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time I usually do my stuff, so it's okay for me because yeah, I have kids, so the evenings are the precious time.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And I was just giving like a brief introduction to you.
Mhm.
You're a full-time parent, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh wow. And so you yeah, just want to learn more about your journey, like how you got started with e-commerce and kind of how your journey went so far.
Yeah, my journey is full of adventures. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, there's a lot to learn still ahead, of course. But I am happy to be here and of course, yeah, to improve my skills and yeah,
You,
know what
you
I'm doing, know what I want to do in the future because I mean, I've given up on lots of things and I have just decided to focus on e-commerce and I want that to be like my dream.
hmm So you're originally from Poland. You have Polish name, right?
Yes, I have a
Yeah.
Polish name. I'm
So
from
you
Poland. Yes.
uh-huh. And you live in Netherlands.
No, I don't live in the Netherlands. I live in Germany,
Uh-huh.
but I live very close to the border. Yeah, like 10 minutes. So that's not that far.
Nice. And so how did you get started like in e-commerce? Like did you get started in e-commerce like when you already had a family, like you just wanted to have something that would allow you to work from home and have, that time freedom? How did you discover e-commerce?
Um, I can say this whole thing started years ago, but it was more from my partner's side. He was like always the one who was like pushing me because he's like, "Oh, you're very smart. Oh, you should use the computer. Or you should do something," you know. And yeah, like my first thoughts were like back in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
where I was like, looking at all these videos like about Amazon and so, and I was like, okay, maybe I could give a try. And then I was like, it was one step forward, one step backward. And then I was like, no, I can't do this. Then there was another phase that came where I had this friend of mine that was like, telling me about some kind of like affiliate program with a company called Newsgain.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, doing all sorts of advertisement on Facebook. And I was like, how do you do this? And she's like, yeah, you need to do this. You need to do that. So like she kind of like introduced me into it, but
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't go the way I wanted it to go. And
In
then there
what
was
way? Like
like, the way she was like trying to explain to me how the whole thing works, it just didn't work for me. I think like, the knowledge she was like, giving to me was not like, the right direction because I mean, I can't even compare it to what we're doing right now here because yeah, the way she was doing it was more like, Facebook with no paid ads and so on. And I mean, there was no way that you would get someone to buy your stuff because we were just like, like a bunch of kids in the playground, trying to make some videos, trying to advertise some stuff, and like nothing really works. And I mean, it worked somehow for her, but it's not the same direction like what we're doing here. So, like I said, you can compare it to the BBA program.
Mm, interesting. And it's also, I think you made a very good point that, with e-commerce or with any other things, sometimes we see the journeys of other people, but sometimes, those journeys are not the journeys that we have, because people have different skill sets, they might have different, conditions, they might have started earlier. So we really have to pretty much like craft our own paths. And also, I mean, even your situation, right, where I also have two kids, and my wife also helps me with a business. And when the kids were like very small, my wife worked from home as well. So I totally resonate. Like your story is so so close to me, and it's something that kind of you have to identify. Okay, so what are my conditions, right? What I'm able to do, what I'm not able to do, right? And then pretty much like craft your own journey based on that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So like when 2019 you first kind of like discovered, and then when how was that? Like, did you just put it on the back burner? Like, at what point
Yeah,
you
I just
discovered?
completely put it away, and then we got into the phase where COVID came, and we were stuck at home, and and my partner was like, "You really need to try this. You really need to try this." I was like, there was always this fear, like, what if I lose? What if I don't make it? What if we're gonna lose so much money? What if this happens? What if that happens? And there were always questions like that. And yeah, there was a time last year, at the end of last year, when he was like, I kind of feel like this coming year you have to do something. And still I had that fear at the beginning of the year. I mean, I told him, why don't you do it? And he was like, oh, it's okay because you're the one who sits behind a computer. You're the one who always arranges every stuff. You're the one who does this, does that. So it was like, why don't you just give it a try? I mean, just do it. And he's been pushing me like for years to do it. And finally, I just sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And
Mm,
that's how it started.
wow. So I mean, I come from Eastern Europe as well, from Ukraine, and I think that's probably something like fundamentally like in our culture in Eastern Europe, where and it's probably like the consequences of like Soviet, where it's like you do something wrong and that's it, like that's it, game over, right? And we're beating ourselves. I remember like even in school, like you get like bad grades, like the kind of like, okay, like you're done, like it's that's it. You're not capable, you're not smart. And so I think there's a lot of things that kind of like you had to overcome, like, because on at the end of the day, it starts on a mental level, right? Like, if you believe something is
Yes,
possible, then you go after it. And then if you
exactly.
don't believe, then you just don't go after it. And it's something that takes a lot of time to overcome. So what was that kind of like paradigm shift? Like, at what point you just decided to give it a try?
I guess at the point where I was like, I was pregnant with my second daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I need to do something, because I was like thinking, okay, I've been doing this job so far because I worked before, like, in administration, and it always required me to drive a lot, go to companies, discuss this here, discuss this there. And the time was always like, always very, very rough. So during that period, I was like, I think I need to do something else. So it was like we got back to this topic about e-commerce, and then like my partner told me like, okay, you don't have to worry about the cost. We're gonna do this, but you just need to give it all. And to be honest, he's always been supportive from the very beginning, and that's what I really love because yeah, there were days where I was like, I was like, this is not gonna work. This is not going the way I wanted. But I got to a point where I just told myself, like, hey, come on, there are people who are doing this, and you can also do it. And I just kept on telling myself, like, you can do it, you can do it. And also I had like, this one-on-one calls also with the coaches, and we had like funny situations also where like, I had this product or something like that where they would tell me like, oh, lots of people have tested it, and I like always give myself like, a challenge, like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I know this is gonna work. And I mean, I just did it to prove that, things can work even if it didn't work for others, and it always worked out. So like if I just saw those little things working here, working there, I like always put them to myself, like, take it and say, okay, even the moments when someone tells me something, like the chances it won't work, it always worked. So I keep on believing that, if I do my best, if I give all my best, I believe that it's gonna, like, this is like the future.
Hmm. Interesting. So you basically, by doing all of these like smaller things and proving to yourself that you can do it, you're just like building more and more of that confidence.
More confidence, exactly. Yes.
Mm, that is awesome. And like for me, like I had to rebuild my confidence, like because it was devastated, from all of the upbringing and school and stuff. And it's also like the same as for you. It was kind of like gradual process. Like you do smaller things. Oh, this one worked out, and then like you're a little bit more confident over time. And over time, it's like you're taking bigger and bigger risks, like you're going after bigger and bigger projects. And it's something that I think a lot of people kind of, people ask me all the times, like how to become more confident, or like how, I have a lot of fear and stuff. But it's at the end of the day, it's like those smaller things that you're going after. And it's super helpful, like you said. You have a partner that believes in you and kind
Yeah.
of like just slightly pushes you like, to try these things. Like I have my wife, she's very supportive of me. She's my biggest supporter. And even at the times where, yeah, it was kind of like very bottom, like she was always like believe in me and push me. And I think it's so crucial to have someone like that by your side.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the reason, like, a lot of people face, like, issues with e-commerce is because of the fear. The fear is like
Mm.
what makes us, like, not want to step out of that box, like, that we're just, we're used to being in that inside that box where we know everything, where everything is familiar, and but the moment you just step out and you just start looking around, and that's the moment where you're like, I just feel like, okay, you stop being afraid. You first of all, you just have to stop being afraid of, financial issues, because I think that's also something that blocks us. When you're
Mm.
afraid of spending money, or when you're afraid of, I mean, everybody's afraid of the, but like, sometimes, you need to lose money to win money. That's like, you just have to have that mindset. And that's what my partner also keeps on telling me. And that's what happened here, because I mean, the very beginning, I would be honest, I lost quite a lot, but like the last month has been really great for me. So I see improvement. I see myself better than, like 4 months ago when I started. And yeah, I can say that if it keeps on going this way, then yeah, there is something there.
For sure.
There is.
And before you got into e-commerce, like, did you consider any other? Because, for example, if you want to work from home, like, there's many different avenues to do that. Like, I mean, you can do freelancing. You can do, there's many business models that you can do from home. Like,
Mhm.
did you consider any other like business models besides e-commerce?
Okay. To be honest, before I even started e-commerce with the BBA, I was completely like, I had no idea about how social media works,
Oh, wow.
how things function. I All I knew is like I had my Facebook, I had my Instagram, which I barely used. And yeah, I just started reading up on the internet, like, how you can make money online, what kind of businesses you can do. And, it's just like the moment I started searching those things, like I just started having ads from all over, like, Facebook and Instagram. And I guess it's because now I understand it. Like, what you search, your phone just keeps on throwing those things in you. And yeah, that's how I came across e-commerce. But when I started, I basically had no skills, no knowledge. Like I was just completely nothing. All
Wow.
I knew how to use was just, basic administrative things like Excel, PowerPoint, and so on, and that was it.
Was that like was that something that like scared you? Like when you were like, okay, there's so many things to learn, I have no idea, or that was like an exciting challenge for you?
Um, good question. I mean, once I got access to the program and I just saw the amount of things, I was like, I'm never going to be able to cover this. But, I keep on watching it in my free time. I haven't watched everything, but I think the most important things that I need right now, like, for the start, I think, yeah, I've managed to put that aside because I think that's the whole idea of like, um, you watch the programs, you attend the classes that you need to attend, and then you bring out the information that is the most essential for you and for things to start working, and then the rest comes in time. That's how I just put myself, I just told myself, okay, just focus what's important now, and then the next steps will come, the next steps will come, the better you get, the better you understand, the next steps will be easier, and that's what I keep on saying to myself, but that's what makes
Mm.
it easier for me to understand this whole model, how how the BBA program
it's
works.
it's it's an amazing to see like how your mindset also like I see like the difference in mindset because now like you're like now there's obviously more confidence that you build for yourself, and also like how you view things from the more like opportunity, right? Like
Yeah,
versus it is amazing to observe that, because I think, yeah, like you said, it's the mindset. Like if we are like open minded, and if we believe that if we commit ourselves to something for extended period of time, then eventually we'll figure it out. It's like everyone, if you think about it, like everyone starts from zero. Like all the people that have successful businesses, everyone who's done something that they're proud of, like at some point, they started from zero. They started from
exactly.
and it's fascinating to see your evolution.
I mean, entering this program was like, like enrolling into school. If you don't study, you're not going to pass, and that's the truth. And that's the same mindset I had, coming in here and yeah, signing up for this. I mean, I just told myself, I'm paying for this, so I have to do it.
Awesome. So, I mean, so 4 months ago, just to make sure I understand correctly, 4 months ago, like you had no idea about, you didn't have like much context for e-commerce, like social media, like none of that stuff.
No, what I only had was like little knowledge from some YouTube videos, which I watched how to set up like, your Shopify store. Um, yeah, and how to import products from AliExpress. That was
That's
all I knew. But sometimes I just think about like, how it was 4 months ago, like what I used to do then, like, even the first month in the e-commerce program, and how I'm doing things right now, like there's a huge difference.
wow. It's very inspiring. It's very inspiring because like you managed to do it like in 4 months, like with like very little like knowledge of the industry. You're coming in, you have other responsibilities, you have kids to take care of, which I know, like, yeah, I see just like how much my wife is how much time, like that by itself is a full-time, it's more than
Yeah.
a full-time job, taking care of kids. And like that you were able to do it in such a short time frame, it's very inspiring.
I mean, it's just all about organizing your time, I think.
Hmm. What are the major things like that have worked for you, like in terms of organizing your time?
Um, I try to find, yeah, when it's quiet and it's peaceful, that's the moment I just try to use like, um, my free time, which are usually the evenings. And during the day, like when I'm doing things at home, when I'm focusing on other stuff, sometimes, I just have that like mind going on, like, what's the next step? What am I going to do? And, in terms of like, creatives or all those things, I'm like always having something in my mind. Sometimes even when I'm sitting down or when we're out for a walk with the family, I'm like, constantly thinking like, what's the next step? What can I do here to improve? Like, I always have that mind, like thinking, what do I need to do to improve my business?
Mm.
So, like, you know, I cut off things that are not important. Like, before I would, like, in my free time, I would spend, like, watching TV or sitting on my phone scrolling. And nowadays I don't do that. Every little time I have that's like, that is my free time, I just try to do something that I can. And yeah, now my kids, it's a little bit easier recently because, like, my younger daughter, she's now in the kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
and my daughter, she's in school. So at least, once I drop the kids off at school, I just, like, have those 4 hours at least for myself. And I just try to use the best out of it. And then after, I do other stuff. And then, of course, when the kids are in bed, I just try to sit the next 3 to 4 hours. So if you look at it, I'm sitting almost 8 hours a day and I have that time.
Mm.
So it's just about organizing, yourself, and trying to get out the best. I mean, the first 3 months, to be honest, I used to sit even to like 1, 2 in the night, just because I
Mm.
always had that mindset that I have to finish this today.
Mm. Wow, you're a top performer by nature. If you're getting into something, you want to win and you want to get it done.
Exactly.
Um, so when you first like found out about BBA, like what was your like thought process? Because alternatively, I not like you haven't done that. Like alternatively, and that's what a lot of people do. They're trying to go in and trying to figure out by themselves. Play around. Watch YouTube videos and kind of play and get traction by themselves. what
hmm
was what was your decision making process when joining a BBA and just getting external help like early on?
I mean, from the very first day, I was definitely determined. So, once I got the first introduction phase, like, I had the call before I had my coach assigned to me. Um, I did everything that was required. And once I had my one-on-one call with my coach, and, we discussed the first things, and he gave me the first steps. And, he already asked me, like, okay, you need to finish this. So when you're done, you can hit back to me, and then we go on. So I just told him, you know what? I'm going to be done in the next 7 days. So just book me right away for our next call. Like, I didn't even know when I was able to finish all that stuff in 7 days, what I was given. But he was like, okay, we can book you for a next call in a week. And once I started, like going through the materials and everything, I just that was when I realized that it was really so much. But I then told myself, okay, I told him I'm gonna be done with this in 1 week. So I have to make it done. So I sat every single free moment I had. I even some there were like nights I didn't even sleep. I was just going through everything,
Wow.
doing everything. And then during the day, I was just taking a nap. When the kids were taking a nap, I just take the nap as well. And that's basically how I was functioning, because I just told myself I have to finish this. And I finished it. I completed the tasks in that week. And then the next week we did the same thing. So like after 4 weeks, we were already like, done all the way to the fourth phase. So I think that was like pretty fast. But like I said, it's the way you program yourself. It's the way you just set your mind, like, if you have to do it, you have to do it. And like there are no excuses.
I love that mindset, because it's something that like in life, I believe like we get the opportunities, right? Like everyone gets like opportunities, and sometimes we just let those opportunities like just slide by.
Mm,
And otherwise, like if you get an opportunity, like from your perspective, you just decided to take full advantage of it, and like you really follow through. And a lot of people, they, you give the opportunity, you give them everything they need, and they would just like, yeah, kind of not prioritize it, not make it important. So what was that made it so important for you? Like, I mean, I know that, I mean, you have the family, you want to give them the best life you can. um like, how do you explain to yourself like everything you do on a day-to-day basis as your like reason why you do it? Because it's something that, I think most people just live in this like comfort zone where they're like, yeah, I kind of have the setup, that's my life, and they kind of like just settle down and become comfortable. For you, you have other responsibilities, you have kids, you have all those things, and you still, you know, pushing yourself to do more.
Uh, yeah. I think that's just the way I've always been, like not just maybe with e-commerce, but I've always been like that in my whole life. Like, I always say to myself, like, if you have to do something, you just have to do it. And that's the same approach I took here. And I mean, I never used to think that it's a good thing to sit in your comfort zone, because if you want to think business, then you have to do business.
Hmm.
And with everything, it's like that. If you want to achieve a goal, you have to work. I mean, if you want to be your best athlete, how can you become a best athlete if you don't train? So it's the same thing here. If you want to be the best businesswoman or businessman, then you have to train yourself. You have to learn a lot of things. You have to open your mind and explore, and get out of
Hmm.
that comfort zone, because the moment you get out of that comfort zone, that's when you start opening the next doors. You open one door, that door leads you to the next door, that other door leads you to another door, and then you just get out. But in the end, you just look back and say, okay, I don't have any regrets,
Hmm.
because I wanted this, and I make it happen. And that's how I always think.
Wow, that's awesome. And also one thing that you mentioned, that you would get a feedback from our team, and you would have certain things to do, like some
Yeah.
action points, and no matter what, you would go ahead and like deliver those things and get those done. And just being like coachable, I think it's, I'm working with like multiple coaches as well, and they give me feedback, and then, I know that, like the same as you, like that I have to, if I want to be like a good student, if I want to be like kind of take advantage of everything that's given to me, I have to actually go and deliver those things that they tell me to do. And I think that that is a quality that like literally differentiates people, that are successful, people that are not, that just being coachable, and like someone tells you to do something, you make no excuses, you get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, even though we covered the most important things, like, just to start at least the business, I also had my stubbornness, going around exploring and doing all sorts of things. That it was we came even to a point where I had one call where I was supposed to do something, and I came back to that call having something else done. So my coach just still sat down and just laughed and said, Elzbieta, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to find what exactly I want. And he's like, okay, because in the past 3 weeks, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, you've been doing this. And he's like, try to focus on one thing.
Hmm.
And I think on one side, it's okay what I was doing, because that way I was able to develop other skills, such as like,
Hmm.
my graphic skills, my design skills. And I think all those things are very essential in this business. Yeah, not just focusing on watching the videos. I mean, the videos are important, but like, there are also things that on the way you need to improve. And I was not really like focused on what I really wanted to sell or what I really wanted to do. So I was like, diverting here and diverting there, and between different categories. And I just didn't know where to find myself. Like, we already had this product set up that we're going to focus on it, But like if we look today, we're not even on that page anymore.
You applied your own creativity to um that's interesting. And you just like followed your gut feel. Like, what was kind of what was your motivation? You just had the different gut feeling about like what kind of products to sell, or like.
Not exactly. I was more confused because, there were things that I watched in the program, and I was trying to look at it from another angle, like how can I be better than what everyone else is doing,
Hmm.
because I just kind of felt like if I follow each, like, each step, like let's say in, for example, in product research, you're sitting in the group where a lot of people, like, are discussing several things, and like, you just feel like, okay, um I'm doing this, I'm doing the same as everyone, but then there's a huge competition, so I just started thinking out of the box, like what can I do, like, to be different.
Mm.
So I was like I told you, I was experimenting with different niche, and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I mean, at first when I entered, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. But then my mind went here, my mind went there, and there were so many products on the way. But like I said, I developed really good graphic skills and really good yeah, like, video editing skills, because I had no idea about that at first. And like even a few days ago, I was like looking at my very first ad videos which I created, and the videos I create now, and there's a huge difference. Like there's a huge difference.
Mm. It's such in such a short like period of time.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So in 4 months you developed like graphic design, video editing skills, obviously, the like understanding of products, differentiation, um, like it just like such a huge like amount of skills that you acquired in just few months.
Yeah. Because I think, like I said, because I just didn't put my mind, worrying myself, okay, that this is not done, that is not done, as I keep on watching the videos, I just try to pick out the things that, I think are the most essential, and I just focus on those things, because I know that this is really important. This is what I'm going to need. This is what I'm going to need. And those are the things I focus most on.
Mm.
So,
Like.
like, a lot of people would always tell me, like, yeah, just test a product, go on, don't focus on your page and so on, just make it look somehow random. But like at a point, I just decided that, if you really want to have something done well, then you need to make it perfect, and to make it perfect, there are certain things you need to improve in. And I always keep on telling myself, like, even though your page looks great, your ads look great, there's always space for improvement. And I always try to, like, improve something. Even though it looks perfect, I always like to, like, change something just to make it look even better. So that's
Mm.
that's that's the kind of mindset I have, like, when it comes to this business.
That's awesome. I mean, and I think that skill and that perspective will serve you tremendously well. As you grow your business, turn it into a brand, and like you just kind of continue innovating, because you will always see, how you can do better than people that are selling similar products, and you'll always be looking for that like little edge over your competition.
I mean, I always say to myself, like, I feel like every product can sell, but the question is how you sell it, because it all depends how you approach that product. Because the product right now that's, like, like, is working for me, I won't call it like a winner or so, but yeah, there are a lot of people who are selling it, but it is working for me. But the thing is, like, focusing on the right angle, focusing on the right creatives, like, if you know what you're doing, then you know what you're doing, and things work. But
Mm.
you need to understand how your customer thinks, and that's what I've been, like, focusing on recently. Like, I think the past 3 weeks have been the most intense, weeks of
Hmm.
mine, because that's where I just finally, sat down on one product after so many months. I would not so many months, 3 months, I would say. And that's where I sat down finally on that product and I said, okay, I think this is a product I need to focus on a little bit. And, everything that I have been doing in the past 3 months, I'm going to apply it on this product and I'm going to see how it's going to work. Like I said, I don't call it a winner, but I can see that all those things that I have been doing, in the past few months, and I'm now just, putting it into one place, it really brings the results out.
Hmm. It's a great mindset. Like overall, like e-commerce, it's a combination of multiple skills. Like you said, you've learned different things about like different products, different moving parts, and then when it all comes together, when you see the correlation between, for instance, your ad and your conversion rate, or your
Yeah.
ad and like, let's say the average order value, and like you see all of these like things coming together, that's when you like that's when it starts clicking. Um and I think most people, they just kind of like see it as a more like a gamble, like you kind of like randomly do something and it somehow works out. You see it more like as a deconstructing the whole thing and seeing what things are the most crucial, the most important, and then focusing on mastering those skills that will get you to the outcome that you want.
Yeah. I think also the major problem here is that a lot of people just give up too fast on a product. That's my opinion, because
Hmm.
um like the product that I'm currently working on, it didn't bring me any result, like I would say the first few days, but I just didn't give up. I didn't give up on it. I just thought, like, I need to follow what I have learned and try to improve, whether it's the page, whether it's the creative, I just follow what I have learned, and after 2 weeks the results were different. Like,
Hmm.
things just changed. And right now I'm like thinking, okay, all those other things that I used to try before, like, I mean, I never tested that much, but um I always used to pass by a lot of products without even, like, considering how I could sell them. But right now, like, when I think the way I think, I just think that, every product could be sold, like I say, but you just need to know how to sell it.
So becoming a great marketer, right? And knowing how to, like, you see the product and you instantly start thinking about different angles that you can sell that product with, and creatives and all of the other moving parts.
Exactly.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
but like, another thing I also think here, like, I always ask the coaches, and this is one thing what I really like, and that's what I did with this recent product was, like, there was a day I had a call with one of the coaches, and I asked him, like, how do you find your products? So he, like, told me, okay, this is what I do, this is what I do. And I took his advice, and I decided to stop looking at, random products. And the thing what I really liked from his point of view was, to focus on products that actually solve a problem of people, because I think this is where we understand what we can do, because when we know a lot of people face different problems, and, if you find a product that can solve a problem of someone, yeah, then that could be a winner. And that's what I think right now, and that's my future goal, to focus on products that solve problems. So not just picking up random things, like, every single person does, you know but to focus on things that, could be in long term a problem solver, and just work on it with all the skills you have. And I think that will go.
Awesome. So when you were joining BBA, Brand Builders Academy, were you like nervous or scared at all?
Nervous, of course I was nervous, but I just shut that face fast. I didn't keep it on for too long, because I just knew I had to do it no matter what.
Hmm. And you just like you had this like hesitation, and you just like didn't pay attention to it, you just move forward.
Not at once, but I think maybe after like 2 weeks, I was like feeling a little bit more confident. And in time, I just forgot about it. I just switch off. I just switch off. But another thing that also helped me, like, to feel more confident, I think, is I started doing other things like, um, going to sports, doing, things that could distract me from thinking just about problems and so on. And just to have a clear mind when I come back and do my things so that, when I come, I know that, okay, this is what I have to do. That is what I have to do. And I think that's very important. You have to always have a clear mind when you're doing this, because if you're thinking about so many things, thinking about all your problems, there is no way you can focus and there's no way you can achieve things you want to achieve. And especially if you have very limited time, you just have to know that that time is precious and you have to do the most out of it.
So doing sports to clear your mind, and if you have clear mind, you're making better decisions.
Yes.
Huh? That's such a good tip. We have a question here. Can you share some tips regarding product research that worked for you? That, I mean, you mentioned one thing, which is looking at the problem that product solves. Any
Mhm.
other things? Any other things that have worked for you? And also, like how you were confident with the product that you selected, and whether you just tested one product and it worked for you, or you've tested multiple.
Um, so at first, I was, like I said, I was doing the same thing. So, I will scroll, I will do the Facebook ad library, product research thing. I will see some random products and, you know, I will think to myself, okay, should I test it or not? That's how I was thinking before. But after some time, I came to, like, to a conclusion that, okay, you need to focus on, like, after I had that question regarding, like, what could solve the problem of a product. So what I do now is, like, I go to ChatGPT. I
Mm-hmm.
just, like, type out some, like, some keywords, like, if it's related to women, whether it's related to men or babies or whatever. And, I ask, like, for keywords of what exactly, what problem does this particular group of people face. And then ChatGPT gives me up, like, some kind of, like, points. And then I go around and, use all sorts of sites like Google Trend and Reddit and so on. And I try to, like, see what is trendy. And then I try to find a product that could suit that problem. And that's how I found my recent product that I'm selling. And yeah, and it's doing quite good.
Wow, interesting. So instead of just focusing, like most people, they would just try to go on, spy tools and find, some products to sell using standard kind of, methods. For you, you start with a problem first. You start with, like, who would buy that product in the first place, and then you identify which products could solve that problem for a specific person, and that's your process.
Exactly. But
Interesting.
but before I ran tests, of course, I did check, the standard way. Who are my competitors? Whether anyone else is selling that product? I had to do some research. And I mean, at the moment I started with that product, there were not so many. But, like, if I look now after a month, there are more people. And there's also one more thing that I did, because when I started selling this product, I wasn't really sure um, how to promote it, because I always had that mindset, okay, look at what works and then copy it and, do the same thing. But um, I did that. It didn't work for me at first. So I came up with the idea that, okay, if that didn't work, then I have to do something else. So I decided um, to do the ad myself, and
Mm.
that was the first ad I created, like, using myself as an example. And and funny enough, even my partner was like, laughing because he was like, "What is this?" And to be honest, the second day, this ad just went like boom. Like, a lot of people were clicking through my page, and I was like telling you, see, you told me that this ad looks so bad, and it's actually working. So that was the funniest part, that something that I would have expected the least. But I think it's just because people see it's something natural. It's not like like every other single ad where people just mix up different things and try to create something. This was something like more original, and I think that's the best thing. Like when you work in creatives that are like especially if you do something like you're an example. I think that's what really works. And it's a product for women, so hello, hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I just
Sure. Yeah, my something was my sound. So I think it's one of those like crucial skill sets. At least like especially at the beginning, where a lot of people they would just like outsource that from day one. The video ad creation, they would just like hire someone on Fiverr, or they would use like any of the services that are available, and they would
Mhm.
outsource the video ad creation. Sometimes because people don't have time, but sometimes they just don't have those skills, and they're scared to learn those skills like video editing, which sometimes can be like time consuming. But I think it's at the end of the day, the skills that you would acquire. Let's say you create your own ads, and you see exactly, what's working for you, like with those ads, and how to edit those ads. Then it will be a lot easier for you to even hire someone and train them, because you know exactly what a good ad looks like. And so as you grow your business, those become very important points, because if you outsource everything from day one and person creates an ad for you, then it's like you don't even know how good that is, and you just like test it and it doesn't work, and you think, yeah, maybe e-commerce doesn't work. And so at the beginning stages of the business, I think it is crucial for entrepreneurs to acquire those skills, and that's exactly what you did.
Yeah. I mean, there was also this product that I tested before that was like for babies, and I actually used my baby as an example,
Oh wow.
and it did bring me some sales, but it was not something that I thought like would be evergreen. So that was the reason I just like I I just decided to quit it and focus on something that like I said, could solve a problem.
And those ads that you created, like, did you make them like with your own phone, or did you find like footage and like put the ad together? How what was your process?
I just used my phone.
Wow, that is that is awesome. So you just made your own footage and made the whole ad yourself?
Exactly. I went to the shop and I just got myself the cheapest, this lamp that YouTubers use. And I just decided, like, okay, I've never filmed myself, but this is a day where I have to do this, or it's gonna be looking great, or it's gonna look like a total disaster. So yeah, I mean, if I look at it, I will still laugh at those ads, but yeah, they did work. They performed.
Wow. And I see, so we have BBA program, Brand Builders Academy. We have ESS program for more experienced entrepreneurs. And few of our clients in ESS, in e-commerce scaling secrets, that have done, millions of dollars in sales. Like you can see, on their ad library, some of their best performing ads are the ones that they shot themselves. Like you literally can see them in the ads, and it's fascinating, because like I mentioned, I think there is an element of just being hands on and truly understanding the process, and also you can describe certain things in a way where I mean, if you've done the research before starting to sell the product, you know exactly how to explain it. You also, like, if you reverse engineer other ads, you know how to edit it. And I think those are, like, yeah, those are incredibly valuable skills, especially at the beginning stages of of your journey.
Yeah.
So when you joined BBA, like, how was that journey for you in terms of the, like, paradigm shift? Did you have any, like, big paradigm shifts, like, before you got into e-commerce? You thought, like, certain things are, a certain way, or maybe you had some perception about e-commerce in general, and some of those beliefs have shifted for you?
I mean, like I said, when I started the program, I barely had any knowledge about e-commerce or so. Um, yeah, I just, like I said, I just started one day, searching what one can do, how you can work online and so on. And then after that, I just started having, like, different ads and so on popping on here, popping up there. And I mean, there was a fear, like, like maybe it's a scam, maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe, I had those thoughts, but I was like, okay, you see this day so many people talking about it, and maybe there is something about it, So I just said, or it's gonna work or it's not gonna work. Like, there are two options. But yeah, I was afraid at first.
Hmm. And how was your time in BBA so far?
Busy, very busy.
Busy.
Busy, busy, busy. Constantly learning something new, and yeah, scheduling myself here and there, trying to improve, always trying to improve, always trying to make things better.
Hmm. You mentioned that you're using AI tools in your process, which I think it's such a great advantage. When I was starting, e-commerce business, like 8 years ago, like, I didn't have any of those tools that are available today. And so you mentioned that you're using ChatGPT
Yes,
for, even, like, for the product research, kind of like understanding the problems, understanding the target market that you're going after. What
yes.
other AI tools you're using, or maybe some other applications for ChatGPT that you found valuable?
Um, I think at the very start, uh, when I really didn't know how to create my store, I came across this app called Page Pilot.
Page Pilot. Uh huh.
Yes. So I kind of used it at first so that it could, structure my page somehow. And what I did later, I started using ChatGPT to customize the page more, like, to fill in here, fill in there, and to make changes. And of course, I followed the steps like were given in the BBA program. But like,
Hmm.
I told you there was this phase where I was like, diverting here and diverting there, creating all sorts of products. But I think that was really helpful because I created so many pages. I never ran ads. I didn't spend money. I just focused, like, on creating pages. After all, I just deleted the pages. But, every time I created a page, I saw something better in myself. I saw I was doing something better. So, like, if somebody gives me now a product, like right now, I can just create you a whole page in at least an hour, like a really good looking page, because I just know all the skills so well because I've been doing this, doing that to a point that, I just don't think twice. And like, the more you practice, the better you get, the better you see how your page should look, and you start to understand, like, okay, and I always said to myself, if I am a customer and I land on this page, will I buy that product or would I just move on, and that's what I always ask myself when I create a page, because I
Wow.
think that's very important.
And I think, like, what you just described, like, what happened to you, like, in the last 4 months. I think, like, from my perspective, it was a tremendous journey of, like, self-discovery, because
Yes.
throughout that process you have identified certain things that you're incredibly good at, like, and naturally talented at. And I think it's one of the one of the best things that you can do, because I think everyone is, like, naturally talented at something. So for you, like, design, aesthetics, presenting the product, and just kind of, I mean, that skill set is so valuable, because even if you don't do it for your own business, I mean, you can sell it as a service. You can build like landing pages for people, right? So either way, you have acquired that skill set, and now like you're in like every day you're becoming better at it, and it's one of those skill sets that's like incredibly valuable, because not everyone, like you give me a landing page, I have no idea. Like my landing pages would look horrendous. It's not my core talent. For you, you have discovered that talent and you just keep building on it and improving it.
Yes. And I always say to myself, even when I look at the page, I always say there is something you can improve with this, you know. There is always something you can change. And even my coach tells me, Ella, just leave your page. It's perfect. I still have to do this. He's like, if it's working, why do you want to change it? You know, he always says that to me.
uh, that is awesome. So when it comes to the ads, so the first ads you created yourself, like did you create any more ads yourself, or it was just like one ad that worked for you?
Um, I created those ads myself. And after I got to hire a girl, and this is something that I will not advise anyone to do because you know, we have so many UGC creators around, and I just decided that okay, since I was doing like, a UGC style, I think that I could have someone else to do it. But to be honest, the results I got were so bad that in the end, I used all the videos that she had provided, and only one worked out of eight. So what
Hmm.
I did was, because I mean, I wasted my money here and nothing worked. So I just told her, you know what? We can have a deal here. So you give me your raw material and I'm going to create something out of this. So she agreed on it and she gave me the raw material. So what I did, I just used that raw material and I used my own material and mixed it up and got a really cool video, like not only one, but a couple of videos that really performed well.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's creative thinking.
Yeah,
You get the best out of every situation. Um,
exactly.
so and like, do you still shooting ads yourself?
Currently I'm busy with new ads, yes.
Nice.
So I just have like, like this already, like I have a couple of videos that are already finished ahead. So like, I don't have to struggle every single day to finish something that I'm going to post today. So I have like, some videos that are already done for the next like 2 weeks ahead. So like every 2 or 3 days, I will like post a new creative. And yeah, that's basically what I do now.
Awesome. So if you would have had conversation with Elzbieta, like, I don't know, 1 year ago, and you would give her some advice, like what would that advice would be?
To focus on one thing.
So if you had a chance to start like this business earlier, like would you do it, or like do you think that was the right time for you to
I
start?
can't I can't say because I kind of feel like what we do, like every time what we do, it doesn't matter because no matter what step you take, it will still lead you to the point where you have to be. But if I look back and I think maybe I could have focused a little bit more, but I think also that that distraction, of doing several things also taught me like a lot. It made me make also a lot of mistakes, but the best part is that I learned from those mistakes and I made those mistakes better. So there's always a plus in everything you do. And right now I know that I have to focus more. Like, if I'm doing something, one thing, I need to focus because, of course, the timing it's very important. You need to act fast. You need to, you need to do what is right at the certain moment. So that's also what I was saying. Like, I have things planned ahead, so it's not like I am working with something I have to do just today. So, like, I we spoke about the creatives. I have already creatives ahead, so I'm not stressed out. Like, today, what am I gonna post or what am I gonna post tomorrow? Because I already have a plan. It's all
Mm.
there on the way.
And one great point that you mentioned is that you're using every experience that you have, whether it's good experience or bad experience, as a learning experience, and you're learning from those mistakes. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's the only way to learn. And no matter what you do, like what skill you're trying to master, you'll like inevitably make some mistakes. But as long as you're learning from those mistakes, then you just become better and better over time.
Yes. And the most important thing, just don't panic. No matter what, don't panic. Because
I,
you have those moments like, I used to have this moment, but right now I think I've just overcome all that, all those feelings, because they were like, when I started, it was like, something doesn't work, I will panic. Something doesn't work, I will panic. And I just told myself, just stop panicking. What is to happen is just gonna happen. Just go with the flow. And I think that also helped me, like, build my confidence more, because I just stopped being afraid of certain things.
hmm.
And I always tell myself, if something doesn't work today, it will work tomorrow. And if it doesn't work tomorrow, it will work after tomorrow. And you just always have to always keep that positive mind. It's very
Mm.
important to have a positive mindset, because that's when things work.
Awesome, Elzbieta. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll let you go. I know it's it's late for you, and you probably want to spend some time with your family. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your trust in us, and joining and following through. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at 100K per month. That's the next benchmark.
Yes, definitely. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
everyone for watching. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.